The bus stop is the Treppe down, and then you go links around. Then you exit the Trainhof, and then you go... Hey Rabbits, it's Trixie, and there are so many mistakes that foreigners can make when they are learning German as a foreign language. But in case you are one of them, don't feel bad, because you can find obstacles on both sides of the line. There are also a lot of things that Germans do wrong when a German learner talks to them. In today's video, I want to share with you what Germans could improve on when a foreigner tries to speak German to them. These problems probably apply to other nations as well, but since I'm German, I can only speak for myself and my family members and friends, hence the video title. A crowded train station in Germany. A young man stands in the middle of the platform, visibly lost and desperately trying to make sense of the many signs all around him. He doesn't know what to do, so he turns to a German woman. With broken German, he asks her where the bus stop is. Wissen wo ist Bus? Ich suche Haltestelle von Bus zur Stadt. The woman smiles and tries to help. Now here are 3 mistakes that I've seen Germans making in a situation like this. The encounter with a non-German stranger. And yes, I'm definitely guilty myself. First mistake. Die Bushaltestelle ist da vorne. Sie müssen die Treppe runter und dann links. Dann raus aus dem Bahnhof, da ist eine Eisdiele, da stehen die Busse. They shout as if the non-German person is deaf. For some reason, they think that this is going to make their statements easier to understand. But surprise, surprise, being a German learner is not quite the same as having a hearing impairment. Of course, you should always speak loud and clearly, but shouting is useless and will most likely just scare the other person away. Second mistake. Du gehen da. Da sein Treppe. Unten Treppe gehen du links. Bahnhof raus, du, dann da sein Haus mit Eis, njam njam. Dann Bus, 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 Bus. Yeah? I call this the caveman method. These people purposely use incorrect grammar and speak as if they are, well, cavemen. Du gehen da, knock knock, Hunger. I understand the intention of using simple words and sentences, but this goes too far, and I think it's counterproductive for somebody that really wants to learn German. And even if they don't want that, they must feel like fools and are for no reason confronted with wrong, made-up grammar rather than correct and simple sentences. And the third mistake concerning this scenario. The bus stop is the Treppe down, and then you go links around. Then you exit the Trainhof, and then you go... Exactly, they answer in English. Or even worse, like in this example, in bad English. They don't even know where the foreign person comes from, yet they are convinced that this is the smartest thing to do. The only time where I think that this would be appropriate is when you are sure that the other person is a native English speaker, when you're both in a rush and switching to English kind of speeds up the process, and when your English skills are good enough to express yourself. Otherwise, switching to English, especially broken English or Denglish, is A, super confusing, B, not of any help, and C, kinda implying that the foreigner's German skills were too bad for you to work with, which can be very frustrating for them. For the next mistakes, let's move on with a new little story. While the former problems rather concern the encounter with a stranger, let's now assume that we are dealing with a person that seriously wants to learn German. Like, for example, an exchange student or an au pair staying with a German host family. Let's say that Hannah, who lives in America, wants to become a German teacher. During her studies, she decides to spend a year abroad in Germany to improve her language skills and to get to know the culture. She travels to Frankfurt and lives there with a lovely German host family. They all agree to speaking German only so that Hannah gets used to the language. A few weeks pass by. On one evening, Hannah sits together at the table with her host mother, her host father, and their daughter Sophie. Hannah asks, how was your day? Wie war euer Tag? The first one speaking is her host mother, committing the next mistake I want to talk about. Mein Tag war gut. Ich war hier. Das Wetter war schlecht. Das war schade. Maybe you already know what I mean. To make things easier for Hannah, the mom decides to use the simplest sentences she can come up with to talk about her day. Sure, she meant well, but I'd say that for somebody that wants to become fluent in a foreign language, it's actually better to hear native speakers talk naturally, neither simplifying nor shortening things. But let's see what the host father has to say. Next mistake. Ich hatte einen Dreckstag. Dieses vermaledeite Rumgewurschtel an strunzdummen Kundenaufträgen geht auf keine Kuhhaut mehr. Heidewitzka, Hanna, ich sag's dir, die Menschen sind alle balla geworden. Dümmer als die Polizei erlaubt. Aber schnurzpiep egal, Hauptsache ich verdaddele meine Zeit mit dem Bockmist. Exactly. This time we are dealing with the other extreme. Way too complicated sentences, slang words, and confusing sayings. Just imagine all the question marks popping up in Hannah's head. I know that just a few seconds ago I said that natural conversation is key, but this is a bit overkill. Seeing these two examples proves how difficult it can be to find the right balance between too simple and too complicated. Which is why no one is to blame for committing the mistakes that I'm listing in this video. These things happen, and it's not that easy to avoid these problems. Mein Tag war ganz okay. Die Schule war wie immer langweilig, is what Sophie says. She's also the only one to ask Hannah. Und wie ging es dir heute so? Hannah appreciates the question, but she also gets a little bit nervous. Mir ging es gut. Ich habe zuerst die Wäsche gewaschen und dann habe ich im Fernsehen The father interrupts her. Einen Film geschaut oder eine Serie geschaut? Hannah nods. Ja, genau. Einen Film geschaut. Dann war ich in der Stadt und habe im Supermarkt eingekauft. The mother asks. Einen Kaffee getrunken. Eingekauft, yes. Das war schön, nervig? No, anstrengend. Das war anstrengend. And of course, this little dialogue shows us the next mistake. Father and mother are completing Hannah's sentences without giving her the chance to find the right words herself. Don't get me wrong. If somebody is really lacking a word, there's nothing wrong with helping them. It would actually be much worse to refuse help where it's needed, which would be yet another, even more severe mistake. If you don't know this word, you have to try harder, loser. Just imagine that. But on the other hand, you cannot be fluent in German from one day to another. So for people like Hannah, accessing learned vocabulary themselves, even if that means that they hesitate for a moment, is very important and shouldn't be avoided. Again, typical case of well-meant but actually harmful reaction from her host family. The four keep talking. Hannah learns a ton of new words, she laughs a lot, but the conversation is also pretty exhausting for her. This is why at some point she decides to grant herself a little break. Entschuldigung, ich werde gehen auf das Toilette. The father shakes his head. Nein, Hannah. Es heißt, ich werde auf die Toilette gehen. Oh, okay. Dann ich werde gehen auf die Toilette. Just after Hannah left the kitchen, the host mother reproachfully slaps her husband's arm. Edgar, du musst sie doch nicht wegen jeder Kleinigkeit verbessern. Aber sie soll es doch richtig lernen. The next two and last mistakes that I wanted to share with you. Correcting a foreign speaker too often and not correcting them at all because you don't want to be impolite. And I'm presenting these two mistakes together because I cannot say which one is worse. There's no right and wrong. Of course, you should make foreigners aware of their mistakes. How else are they supposed to improve their German? But at the same time, being corrected over and over again before you can even finish a sentence can be pretty frustrating and overwhelming too. So again, it's all about finding the right balance. If you don't know what to do, you should simply ask the German learner what he or she prefers to meet their individual comfort zone. You know, in the end, it's their motivation and learning progress that's at stake. So make them choose and tell you how they feel. Shouting!
Talking too much and way too fast.
Talking too
Purposely using incorrect grammar, spontaneously switching to English, a simplified or too complicated kind of speaking, refusing help, offering too much help, completing sentences, correcting all the mistakes, letting too many mistakes slip. As this video proves, there are so many things you can do wrong when you communicate with a foreigner in German. Again, I want to stress that it was not my intention to blame anybody for making these mistakes. I don't even know if that's what you should call them. It's just the troubles that some of my friends from other countries shared with me. Situations that I found myself in and didn't know what to do. It's a learning process on both sides. So I figured it would be a fun and educative video idea. Now be honest, which of these mistakes have you committed already? What else drives you nuts when you try to speak and improve your skills in a foreign language? What advice can you give from your experience? Alright rabbits, I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If so, please leave a thumbs up because that would make me really happy. Of course, as always, feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and here is a video that you should definitely check out as well. Subscribe to Don't Trust Rabbit for more videos like this one, and if you want to support my channel even a bit more, you can also find me on Patreon. I would really appreciate your help. Now I wish you all a wonderful day. Lots of motivation to all the language learners out there, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!